Welcome to the DrNursePaul Show, hosted by Aspire RN and Dr. Paul. You are watching the USA Nurse Series. Dr. Nurse Paul is an NCLEX expert, having trained and mentored thousands of international nurses past the NCLEX RN for over a decade. He graduated with a Doctor of Nursing Practice in Texas Christian University. He is a registered nurse, an advanced practice registered nurse, and a certified family nurse practitioner. He also has completed a certificate for nurse educator postgraduate course. Aside from teaching, he has extensive clinical experience in emergency and family medicine. He has over 15 years of combined clinical and academic healthcare experience. Dr. Nurse Paul is an immigrant from the Philippines. He is currently based in Houston, Texas, where he operates his business, DrNursePaul, and Aspire RN NCLEX Prep. He loves to share his life story of how he overcame his challenges to reach his dreams. He is passionate in helping nurses realize the American dream. So without further ado, let's all welcome Dr. Nurse Paul.
There you go. Oh my God.
Take two.
A little nervous here. There you go. Do you guys hear me clearly now? Thank you. Sorry about that. I was so excited to turn on my camera, but I hope audio is clear now. Let me see. All right, there you go. You guys can hear me clearly now. Thank you. All right, thank you again. Let me restart from the beginning. Welcome everybody to the Dr. Nurse Paul Show. Today we're gonna have the USA Nurse Series, and we are gonna talk about taxes in the USA. And today I'm gonna have my special friend, Mr. Chris Wycoco. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Paul. Good morning, everyone. How are you guys doing? Type GM for good morning.
And guys, this is the first time. I was a little nervous. This is the first time that I'm streaming live with my guest speaker here in my studio in Houston, Texas. And I was a little nervous. I forgot to turn on my mic, but I did turn on my camera. All right. Anyway, thank you guys. Please keep sharing this show. We have about 100 viewers now and counting. Thank you. We're about to start. And 1 second, I'm hearing some forms of a feedback. So, all right. Anyway, so good morning, everyone. Please tell us your name and your location. Actually, I can see your names now. Tell us where you're located, what time it is in your local time. We're going to start in a little bit. All right. We have Marvin joining us today. Hello, Marvin. Both our friends, Chris and Marvin.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Marvin.
Hi, Marvin. He's in California. And of course, Lloyd is here too. Lloyd is one of my friends. He's in Florida. Thank you, my friends, for joining. And many followers of Dr. Nurse Paul are also here today. They have made this their routine. Every Saturday, 8 a.m. Central Time, they join me in my show. So they're becoming very familiar. I've been doing the show for 6 months, and we have plenty of shows that we did in the past talking about the USA nurse experience, particularly for new immigrants or for future immigrants like you. So why don't you go to my YouTube channel and you can see all of my past shows about USA Nurse Series, about immigrations, issues, opportunities, challenges, about the NCLEX, about taxes, about culture shock, about work fatigue. And we've talked a lot about that in the past. We're going to bring more guest speakers every Saturday during the USA Nurse Series in the future. But today I'm so happy to do this because I remember Chris visiting me 2 weeks ago, and I said, hey, why don't we do a show together? Because, taxes and finances is one of those things that nurses are really having a hard time to like adapt to, especially in the
Mhm.
USA where taxes are very complex. And when I was new, it was actually Chris who helped me figure out my taxes because
Mhm.
I don't want to mess it up. I don't want to be in trouble with IRS. And until now, he's still doing my taxes. All right. So we have people following us from Pamela is from Kenya and it's 5 in the evening. Hello. And Lester is in Philippines. It's 10 p.m. Jing is in Riyadh. It's 5 p.m. Michi Rose is also here. She's one of our avid followers from Ghana, and it's 2 p.m. right
Wow.
now. Yes. Edgy is from Camarines Surbico, Philippines. It's 10 p.m. Many people from Philippines. We have Hakeem. Lloyd is my former roommate. Yes, when I started in the USA, I didn't have a house. I started low key with roommates Lloyd and another friend Kat.
Mallory
And
Dayon is my high school friend. Mallory.
really,
Yeah.
Valerie is here. Hi,
Yeah,
Valerie.
she's in
Thank,
Manila.
thank you for joining us today. She's in Philippines and it's 10 p.m. And we have so many people joining us from the Philippines. Of course, our hometown. Jacob is in Seattle. It's 6 a.m. today. April, Marianito, Edgy from Philippines. I'm sorry guys if I'm missing a lot of names. The chat is really populating so fast. Star is here. Jane from Philippines. Charissa is from Palawan, Philippines, my favorite island. And of course, Mallory, Jen, Roxy, Eunice is from Doha, Mace from Cebu, Philippines, Triza, so many people, and Michelangelo is joining us from YouTube and
Spania. Wow.
Philippines. Oh, Triza was my student in the past, and thank you for joining us today. I do not know how to operate this from my iPad. I have two screens right now, guys. So this is the first time we're doing this, and before we start, I would like to formally introduce our speaker for today. Again, this is USA Nurse Series Season 2, Episode 5 of the Living the American Dream section. And today we're going to talk about taxes in the USA. And today, my guest speaker is a special friend. We've been friends since I came here in the United States 6 years ago. I'm celebrating my 6 years in the United States today.
Yes.
Thank you.
Wow.
And Chris is one of those friends that I've met in Texas when I moved here. So Mr. Chris is a nurse. He's also a tax preparer. And today we're going to see a video about Chris before we start the show. So why don't we roll that video and to learn more about our guest speaker and his advocacies and all of the great things that he did for new immigrants, for the Filipino community, and for the American people. All right, so let's watch this short video about my speaker for today, Mr. Chris Wycoco.
Business person of the year, Christopher de la Cruz Wycoco, Wycoco Tax LLC.
As a 5 feet 5 inches Asian guy that finished Bachelor's of Science in Nursing and now doing an accounting, all of the things against my odds. But no matter how small I am, I have a big dream, bigger than you can imagine. I fought for communication barrier, cultural differences, educational background. That's why I encourage each one of you, if you're not there yet with your dream, hold on tight. At the same time, always bring your best. Make sure to give 100%. COVID situation tested our company, myself. Let's not take life seriously. Find reason to celebrate. And this award, I would like to dedicate not just for myself, but for my team, the Wyco Tax team, and people who continuously believe in me.
Micro tax has always been there whenever I needed them, whether it was a business related question or a tax question. I know that micro tax always has my back.
All right, that was a good video, Chris.
Yeah.
Wow. So I've followed Chris for a long time, followed his business, followed his life story, what he does for his family, for the community. He's very engaged and active in the Filipino community all over here in the US. Lots of good connections too in the
Yes.
business world, in the business chamber, in the what's this? How do you say that? Celebrity world.
Yes, Hollywood. Yeah, we will have our hosting in Beverly Hills August, and then Miss Earth.
He's gonna be one of the hosts.
Yeah,
Nice.
yes, for
Yeah.
those different cities like Oregon, Washington,
Nice,
and
nice.
Colorado. But now we're here. Let's get into business
Right.
regarding your taxes.
Right. Okay. So before we start the actual show, let me just announce, which I forget to announce at the beginning, there will be one lucky winner of an NCLEX Dr. Nurse Paul Method full course from the Aspire RN today from our live viewers. To join the giveaway, you only have three things to remember. One, you must follow Dr. Nurse Paul and Aspire RN Facebook page. Two, you must share this show publicly to your page right now. So why don't you share this show from Facebook to your own Facebook page? It must be public so we can verify that you did, in fact, share this show. And number three, put hashtag Dr. Nurse Paul in the comment section. And we're going to use an app called Comment Picker. And the Comment Picker will automate the giveaway process, and it will randomly select a name with a hashtag, and we're gonna announce the winner later, right? So again, three steps, and it's on the bottom right now with a scrolling thing. I forgot what it's called. Number one is to follow Dr. Nurse Paul and Aspire RN, to share this show live right now on your pages, on whatever groups. It must be public so we can verify that you did share this show. And number three, you have to hashtag Dr. Nurse Paul. So more people are joining. Thank you for everyone who's joining us. Chris, Marvin said Chris is my NCLEX mate.
The NCLEX review those moments in
Yes.
Manila.
Back in the days, huh?
Yes.
And Antoinette is always here. Thank you for joining Antoinette every weekend, always present. She's from Saudi Arabia. Chris is from Qatar. Louis from the Philippines. I think Mavic says, God bless you, Dr. Paul. And more powers to Aspire, Roxy said. And we have more people joining. Again, share this show and hashtag Dr. Nurse Paul. Please tag your friends too so we can reach out more people. We are about to start with our questions for our expert guest today, Mr. Chris. And we've seen in the video earlier that Chris has his own business. It's called Wycoco Tax. It's a very good personalized approach kind of
Yes.
thing with your taxes. And we're going to talk about basics of taxes later, I'm sorry. But you can pop your questions once we go through the questions in a bit. You can pop your own questions. If we have time, we're going to go through that. If not, we're going to comment on your posts later. All right? So without further ado, Chris, are you ready?
Yes, we're born to be ready. ready.
All right.
Ready and wild.
And
for the experience.
There you go. We're both excited to do this. Chris has been awake, I think, since 6 a.m.
6 a.m.
He visited from out of town, so I said you can stay in my house. I have two guest rooms here. And I hope you had a good sleep.
I did pass out. I was trying to wait for Paul, but it's a 5-hour drive. But this is where we are right now. I'm so excited that you have a very beautiful house.
Thank you. And all right, let's start this. The first question that I have that I prepared for Chris today is, how do taxes work in the U.S., Chris?
The taxes works here based on your filing, like your status. If you're single, married filing jointly, or you're head of household, that would be implicated on the percentage. So when you're married filing jointly, the taxes is a little lower compared than single. Because why? You have more dependents.
Nice, nice. And
Mhm.
of course, we have tax brackets, and that's a progressive taxation where you go
Mhm.
from one bracket to another, and your taxes increase as well. And that's a little confusing for a lot of people, but it changes every year,
Yeah, it changes every year for the tax brackets. Just remember where nurses fall is between there's an 89,000, usually 89,000 to $190,000. You are subject a baseline of 10,000, that's initial tax, and anything more than 89,000 to 190,000, that is subject to 22% plus the 10,000.
right? Wow.
Okay, now if you reach more
Crunching
than
the numbers.
yeah, I know it's a lot to chew, but you can replay this now. And from 190,000 to 362,000 a year, we're talking about married couple
Married
because
couple.
all of our clients that are nurses are married. From 190 to 362,000, I think 360 something thousand, it's going to be subject to 32,000 tax rate baseline plus 24% anything in excess more than 190. So 360 minus 190, so those will be subject to 24% tax
24%.
rate. That's how taxation works. So in other words, in general, the higher your money is, the higher taxes will be, the lower credits that will be given to you from education credits, from earned income credit, from the dependent. So sometimes you almost, because to be honest, we this kind high income nurses professionals, they are the ones that we're feeding the IRS in general to give more benefits to the low income.
Right. So
Yeah.
it's they said it's the middle class that's actually funding the government because we pay more taxes. I've paid a lot of taxes in the last 2 years because of travel nursing in the pandemic.
It's milking the cow.
Yeah, true. But I mean, it's still better than where I was in the past, so I'd
Mhm.
take that. Plus, you can see the benefits with taxes here because I mean, if you
Mhm.
lose your job, knock on the wood, you get your unemployment
Unemployment.
benefits,
Mhm.
or if you lose your job, the state can step and give you insurance for a little bit.
Mhm.
So there's a little benefit there.
Yeah, health insurance. Yeah,
Health
that's true.
Yep. And then of course, it confuses people when they see their brackets and they say, "Oh my God, I'm in the 22%." But it doesn't mean that all of their taxes, I mean, all of their money going to be taxed 22% because it has to follow
Yeah,
first 89%. I think is 89,000 is a certain
Right.
lower amount, and
Mhm.
then progressive. So it's per chunk.
yeah. That's just like a basic, but there are we talked about there's a pre-tax and post-tax where
Yeah.
those pre-tax could really help to minimize the taxes. And going about the pre-tax, this is very common W2, which are when you go to the hospital. That's our client initially. Most when I started, this is going to be I'm here in 12. My 12 years is going to be in April, and I've been practicing tax preparation and other services for accounting for more than 11 years.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy. And we all have to remember that Chris is a nurse,
I'm a
but is
nurse.
very good with numbers.
Yeah.
Very smart nurse, I'd say.
We do have a tender TLC, tender loving care.
There you go. So
For
you bring in
health and
the
numbers.
you bring in the nursing skills with the tender loving care with how you treat your clients. That's very good, very important. I think that's why nurses are one of the um, best professionals in the world because every industry that you go to, I know a lot of you guys are not in nursing anymore and want to come back. We always bring whatever we've learned in the nursing science, which is humanity and treating each person as an individual. And that's what I like about Chris and his business because they treat you as a person, not just another client, right? So anyway, I have a question that popped up here from Jonah, and she said, "What are your thoughts about filing of travel nurses?" We probably could give an overview here.
Yeah, the travel nurses, they have stipends. Stipends are like these are the travel agency. They pay for your housing, your those housing, also food, right? Meals, other things that you go there less than I think 3 months, less than 12 months. Those are non-taxable. They only tax you on your W2. But now some of the expenses, you can no longer deduct those expenses, especially like those clothings, because under the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act on 2018, they remove a lot of employees' deduction. But for stipends, still they are non-taxable.
All right. So that's an overview to the travel tax. But again, it's still best to consult an expert.
Yeah,
because
it's better.
taxes are very confusing.
Mhm.
You don't want to mess that up
No.
because IRS has an algorithm and it's usually the computer that detects if they see something that's probably off, then a manual flagging will be done or auditing or a person checks your
Mhm.
taxation and now they call you for an audit. And we don't want audits, Chris, right?
Yeah, the red flag for that is like overestimating the expenses. That's number one.
Mhm.
That's really like a red flag to the Internal Revenue Service because every city have their North American industry classification, which means in an average traveling nurses, this is the amount of expenses that they should be just declaring. Or but right now under the Tax Cuts and Jumps Act, those are already gone.
Right.
But it's a double-edged sword in a way
Right,
because you
You
can no
earn
longer
money.
deduct,
But
but at the same time you are less to be audited.
okay, yeah, very confusing. And I guess when you come over here to the U.S. and you know how IRS does it, you get really because I was anxious to mess up my taxes. Honestly, in the past 6 years that I was here, first when I was just a W-2, which means
Mhm.
full-time employee, which is actually not that complicated. But once I started making money from business and from my investments, and it got a little complicated in that area. So there's a lot of gray area that you don't want to mess with the
Yeah.
Internal Revenue Services because if they audit you, they're gonna check your reports every year for the next how many years, right?
Past 3 years, but like what I said, IRS agent, they are less intimidating.
Yeah, I did.
Because I did work for them.
Oh, really?
I did
Very
work with an
reassuring.
audit. I did work with an auditor. You know, they place them when somebody got audited. The agent will be placed. Go to your business. Usually it's business.
Yeah.
But this business owner treated them very cold. These are people like they
Oh,
literally
no.
put them in like a storage where this business owner just give all the receipts to that agent, and that agent will stay 2 hours in that room, and I stay with the agent also
To
because
audit the receipts.
to audit if I help my client if we did their bookkeeping
Yeah.
or but at the
Oh my
same
God.
time, the agent will talk to me that oh my God, Chris, I
I would-
don't even have water here. I was like,
I would have bought a pan of pancit.
Oh,
and
yes.
cooked and lumpia and lechon
That's
for
what,
the
what
IRS agent.
what we're telling is IRS agent is also people. They're human. If you have a human interaction, they will be very lenient
Right,
and
right.
then apply some IRS code that would work on your favor. Just
Yes.
work with them.
That's good. Yeah,
Mhm.
I think it's all about working with them. I
Mhm.
guess they don't want to be there as well, but they just have to do it.
It's a job for them.
Yeah, true. Anyway, Chris, my next question is: we've heard this a lot from
Mhm.
new immigrant nurses, and we have tons of immigrant nurses coming here to the U.S.
Mhm.
And in the beginning, when I was new, it was also confusing for me. But W-4, W-2s, 1099s, what are these?
Okay, when you come here in the US, W4 is like a contract. W4 is when you begin a job in the hospital. Like, for example, like Paul, when he started the job in the hospital, it's an onboarding form. Aside from his job description, the W4 will determine what would be his filing status. The filing status means is it single, married, filing separately, head of household. But the filing status does not determine your whether you're married or not because you can easily elect. I usually say to my clients that are nurses and healthcare workers to put it as single because the filing status will determine the tax rate. So usually when you're single, you are in a high tax bracket. When you are making 89,000 and above, do not put married. Always put single.
Right.
And that's why do not put any dependents because like what I said, the higher your income is, the lower your tax credits. Though it's better to pay more and then get a tax refund at the end of the year. But one thing happened to this client of mine here in Houston, they never filled out W4.
Wait, how is that possible? I thought every job, even as travel nurses in a new hospital, I still have to file W-4.
Yeah, you have to fill out W4, but I think it's something new. So at the end of the year, he made 70,000 and it's zero federal withholding.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was a problem. It was chaos. It's like bunch of nurses. Always look for the W4 guys. Now W2 if you came here last year, 2022, they will issue the W-2 that will tell how much you made and how much would be the federal withholding that you contributed to the whole year or your working or your employment to that company. Please never defer the federal withholding tax should never be deferred because it's gonna backfire with penalties and interest if you did not file on time. On the other hand, for example, Paul, he started to have his sideline job like this. He started to make income, freelancer. This is what you call whenever Paul is going to be hired as a reviewer, like in a hospital, he's a freelancer. This hospital will ask him to fill out a W-9. The W-9 says that Nurse Paul will be the one to be paying his taxes. If he receive 100,000 to ABC Hospital, that 100,000, that hospital will not contribute with any Social Security Medicare for Paul because he's a freelance. Always remember, freelance, you will be determined to the 3 T's. They don't control your time, 3 T's, okay? They don't control your time, they don't control your training, they don't control the tools. So you go there, do the training. That's the reason why you are a freelancer, self-employed. There's so many terms, subcontractor, contractors. They will ask you to fill out the W-9 that you're responsible to the tax at the end of the year. And at the end of the year, the ABC Hospital will give him the 1099 on or before January 31. And he's going to pay those taxes. But that will allow him to deduct expenses like travel, meals, uniforms, training materials, any giveaways. That's his advantage having a 1099.
Right. So 1099 is like independent contractor. You're not a full-time staff, but they cannot consider you a full-time staff because that will be misclassification, right?
Misclassification of the employee.
Right.
It happened to one restaurant. Guys, just a reminder, if there are some Filipinos, they do part-time, it doesn't mean that you're part-time that you are under 1099. It doesn't work that way. So Department of Labor, you can Google them and then ask whether you're employee or 1099. So that's a good guideline. And if you're an employer, be careful. Be careful with misclassification of employee. There's more than 4 penalties.
Right. And then, of course, again, taxes are complicated. It's easier for Chris to dissect this because of his 11 years of experience in tax preparation. It is still best to solicit the help or pay for the help of a tax expert. As your income grows, your taxes get more complicated as well. You have kids, you have college plans, you have investments, you have retirements, you're buying a house. All of this would necessitate for you to work with your tax preparer, and Chris is an expert with that. We're going to talk about his business in a bit, to help you navigate the taxation. Also, probably give you advice, tax preparation, something like that. Lloyd, one of my friends and roommate in the past. Lloyd is in Florida. His question is, what about these student scholarships from hospitals? Are they taxable?
Scholarships benefits are non-taxable. These are some. This is more like to retain their employees. They're not part of the gross income that need to be taxed at the end of the year. You're good with it.
All right. Thank you. And this one is a good question. Joanny said in Oregon, they said they don't have a sales tax. What is a sales tax? I didn't know that. I'm going to go to Oregon to buy my Apple devices.
Okay.
Let me take a flight to Oregon. Is this true?
All right. Okay. Sales tax. Sales tax are for business owners. This is when, for example, what's your name, Joanny? You have a coffee shop, and then the coffee shop, for example, somebody buy $10 of coffee shop. Use a coffee shop. The coffee with like the venti, the cup of coffee with the bread. Let's say it costs you $20. It's subject to usually 8.25%. The sales tax is then the state level. A state level is a sales tax, and that sales tax is an income. It's a business deduction to the IRS. However, like Oregon, the other one is Delaware. They don't have sales tax because these sales tax are using to fund anything in the state level. So there are tax incentives. That's the reason why a lot of companies they call it tax haven.
You're right.
Like, people putting their LLC in Delaware. They're putting their LLCs on Oregon. And sales tax is a part of our tax liability if we are business owner. But if you're not a business owner, you're good.
Yeah. So for the majority part of the US, we pay as consumers with the sales tax. When you buy something, you see sales tax.
Yes.
In Texas, for example, it's 8.25%.
Yeah.
I didn't know about Oregon. I'm checking if there's a Louis Vuitton.
Okay, yeah.
There's no sales tax.
There are some states, there are, I think, less than 5 that they don't charge that sales tax. And Oregon, I think it's 1. That's a good input.
Wow.
Delaware,
Thank you, Joanne.
Delaware,
Let me
and
check
another
the
one
flight.
is Wyoming.
Small states though.
Yes,
Well,
small
Wyoming
state.
and Delaware are small states. I don't think. But maybe you can buy your Apple devices there and save like 8% from Texas, but pay the flight. But it's fine.
That's true. A lot of my clients, like people that are
They know
visitors,
about
they,
Oregon.
they do purchase their items there, and
Yeah.
even they go to Costco or
Yeah,
Walmart, what the other Sam's Club.
Right.
Yeah, so
because that's automatic. Like for me, I'm a Texan. 8.25%. That's an automatic 8.25% discount for us,
For-
Chris.
yes, for
Because if we
Texas,
buy
yes.
here,
Mhm.
we're paying taxes whether online or in the store, right?
Yeah, and there's what another one thing here is when you're a tourist, there's
They-
what you call I forget the name. As long as you're a
Tax
tourist,
refund.
it's not something you can actually waive that sales tax
Oh,
here in Texas.
Here in Texas, not
Yes.
all states, right?
Not all states. All you have to do is show to the where, like in Costco, you show your passport that you're visiting.
Uh-huh.
So they
Oh,
don't charge you
really?
8.25 because
So it's everywhere.
in Texas, yes.
Okay.
It only applies for tourists because you guys don't have social security. I mean, like those tourists don't have social security.
Right, right.
Present your receipt, present your passport, and they go into waive that 8.25. The more we know as a consumer, as a buyer, not as a business owner.
There you go. So if you're a tourist in Texas, show your passport. You're not going to get a sales tax. There you
Yeah.
go. I learned something new today.
Yes.
I should show them my Filipino passport.
Well, they will find. Guys,
find out I'm an
they
American
put your name and they report, guy, like, Paul, we didn't collect to this guy who didn't collect, and they will find out that you're filing your taxes with your social security.
Oh my
Yeah, so
god.
there's a cross checking.
We'll be in trouble. All right. Anyway, Chris, that's funny. But we're learning a lot today. So, guys, you have to remember that the states have different laws per state. So
Yes.
this might apply to Texas, but may not apply to our neighboring states like New Mexico, Oklahoma, or Arkansas.
Yeah.
So something like that, you gotta verify where you're residing or visiting if that certain law applies. But
Mhm.
federal taxes, like what we were talking about,
Mhm.
are federal taxes. Everybody pays their share in the federal level.
Right.
So when we say, oh, Texas doesn't have state tax, it's only the state tax that's not there. We still pay federal taxes like Californians, like New Yorkers, like Floridians, right? So something like that, something to that level.
And we call that a state income tax, guys. So state income tax is different from sales tax. The good thing about Texas, we don't pay state income tax.
Right. This
So
is,
move now.
Right. And this is one of the most engaging USA Nurse Series I've done because we have so many questions, but we're gonna go to there in a bit. I think I might have to invite you for another show.
Sure. That's my pleasure.
No, Chris also does his own show and his Facebook page, so please follow Wyco Tax. We're gonna ask says Chris to share this page later again because he does a lot of shows too, and his social engagements are also good, and we learn a lot from his show. So follow him. We'll show you guys later another picture with his social media pages. All right, and next one is, what are the pre-tax and post-tax deductions? What do they mean? What are they for?
All right, the pre-tax we already covered that, which means pre-tax like you don't pay tax. For example, your company cover your health insurance, your life insurance. Let's say they put it in your W-2. You will see that on box 12, and then also the 401k. They call it the traditional 401k, which means if they let's say you made let's go back to the numbers like 89,000 and then or 90,000 and then they give you 20,000 for overall like those benefits. You're not so all in all with the benefits it's 90 plus 20, that's 110. You're not going to be taxed on the 110. You're only going to be taxed at the 90,000 because the 20,000 are pre-tax, which means that's not a taxable income. Those are more like benefits. However, those post-tax, like I said, 401k, first time you have to maximize your 401k if you don't have any type of investment. There's what you call Roth 401k, which means you will not pay tax to that. you will pay tax when you withdraw it.
Right.
So that's the reason why when you have 401k, guys, be careful. Like we have nurses that they have 401k, then they move from one hospital to another, they accumulate 50,000 of 401k. You did not pay tax on that. Okay. What's gonna happen when you withdraw that money, you will be subject to tax unless you elected to be a Roth 401k where every year you're already paying taxes out of your contribution, maybe 20,000, and then they said, I'd like the Roth 401k, which is the post tax. So they will withhold the taxes already. So when you need the money, you can withdraw it. But the problem with 401k, when you withdraw it before the age 59,
penalty.
59, there's a penalty.
10%,
10%, 59 and a half. So for people that are planning to withdraw their 401k, whether they use like an apartment or maybe vacation travel, those are all 10%.
So retirement funds are retirement funds. Don't withdraw it because the purpose of it is, your money, your funds when you retire. If you withdraw it before 59 years old, like what Chris is saying, you're going to get 10% penalty, plus you might be liable for paying taxes. And, a lot of people try to move money here and there because they thought, oh, it's my money, you can move it. But there are certain laws. The more money you have, again, the more complicated your taxes become. So it's important that you have a tax expert that you can ask, hey, if I move this money because I think I need it for an investment, what's going to be the tax implication? Because at the end of the day, we're not only spending money. We're trying to make sure that there's more money left in our pockets for our savings, for our kids, for our future, for our businesses, for our investments, right? So if you make certain mistakes, it can cost you thousands of dollars. I made one of these mistakes in 2020 because I didn't realize that I moved money from a taxable investment to another investment fund, and that automatically triggered a taxable event. All right, which was a $16,000 taxable event. So
the penalties.
I was in the 33% back then. So that's a
lot.
$5,000+ of taxes. Learned my hard lesson. I'm like, not doing it again.
Yeah, there's a lot of rollover 401k that you can do. We do have a partner with that because it's a specific product. What I do is more like a general guideline. Be careful of withdrawing, especially your 401k. But you can move your 401k to more aggressive investment that's non-taxable. They call it annuities. That could be non-taxable when you do the rollover.
So many things that can flag you with tax, especially in the US where it's digital, everything's digital. They can track your movement across the economy. Somebody sold you something, you bought something, you used your card for something, somebody used their card to pay you. All of this can be detected if they start auditing you. We don't want that. We want to be honest with the money that we're earning. We also want to make sure that we're paying taxes correctly. But we're talking about pre-tax and post-tax because we can actually lower what we call tax burden. All right?
Yes.
So guys, we're going to extend our giveaway. By the way, I'm sorry, Chris, to interrupt you for a bit.
Sure.
Again, there's going to be one winner. We're enjoying this show so much. There's so many questions. I love it. We're probably going to have to do a part 2.
Part 2.
And it's tax filing season, guys. April 17th. April 15th.
That's very true. When the April 15, when it falls on weekends or holidays, it moved to the next working holiday. So this month is April 17.
Yeah, we get 2 days plus, but one more month. Oh my goodness!
Don't do Christmas shopping. Do not do your taxes at the end, like April 17. It's gonna be bombarded.
Yeah.
Do it ahead of time. Either file an extension.
Yes, I have to file an extension.
Or schedule ahead of time. We do free consultation. You don't really need to file with us. We do 30-minute consultation. Just go to our website, Wyco Tax. Later you can see or find me anywhere, Chris Wycoco. We have a page.
Chris does virtual taxes too, so you don't have to be in Texas to do that. We'll talk about that later. And please follow him. You can search him now, Wyco Tax. His last name is Wyco. It's Wyco Tax, correct?
Baka naman dyan.
Filipinos, come on, let's refer Chris to our friends. All right. Anyway, again, guys, we're gonna give you 5 more minutes to join the show to win the NCLEX package for today. Like and follow Dr. Nurse Paul and Aspire RN. Share this live show on your pages publicly and comment hashtag Dr. Nurse Paul for the comment picker to choose you. 5 more minutes to join the show, and we're learning a lot. This is my friend Jay, He's also my web designer, web developer. He's also a nurse. Nurses are
Oh,
talented.
wow,
Chris is a tax
yes.
preparer. Jay is doing web design. At the same time, he's an OR nurse. And Anna is here. She's my friend too. She's doing a lot of stuff in Lefora. Nurses are very
Very
talented people.
What I call nurses, especially on a COVID situation, I call them frontrepreneurs, frontliners that are entrepreneurs.
Yeah, and that's really the way to go. You know, you
Uh-huh.
can work in the hospital for the rest of your life, but you hit a limit to
Yeah.
what your earning could be. So what I always tell people, find your niche,
Mhm.
find your craft.
Mhm.
It could be nursing, it could be non-nursing.
Singing.
Yeah,
cooking.
singing, yeah. Make money out of it. Social media is so easy right now. And just create a TikTok and Instagram, do something trendy. You don't even have to do a 5-minute vlog. You don't even have to do a 1 hour show. You just do something 30 seconds, it picks up, you do another thing, and that's how you make money. They can monetize your video.
Yeah, for me, like employment, it's something like I said ever since to everyone that success is just between you and yourself. You will be the one to know how far you've come and how far you want to go. Whether you are, as long as you love and you have the heart and passion to what you do, you're successful.
Right,
So
right.
just find that never-ending process and
Exactly.
improvement.
And there's so many opportunities in the US, guys. So many opportunities, so many legal tax loopholes for businesses because the taxes were created for corporate America, which favors businesses than W-2 employees. It's why I'm
my
like,
God.
okay, I'm not gonna be a W-2 employee
Yeah.
anymore.
That's your
'cause
debt.
they're taking more money from my
W2
taxes.
is it's
Not the way to go.
Not the way
That's not how we
way to go. Like W2, not way to go. Like
That's W-2. No. W-2 is the first step to the
the first,
American
it's a
dream.
phase one, but don't stop on phase one. You have
There you go.
phase four with more tax savings. There's so many. NursePaul are here is his show. That's why he's giving you a lot of tips, not just for nursing,
Yeah.
but also overall how to run your life
Yeah.
in US.
Yep. And I wish we had this resources when we were new here in the US, right? Because when I was new, I didn't find a lot of resources. That's why me and my friends at Lefora, Yanni, and we started doing our own blogs. Because we're like, you know what, there's so many questions, but nobody can provide the answers. But
yeah.
here we are, my friends Yanni, Anna, and Miss Jean,
Mhm.
and Kay, the travel nurse hacker, and Juan, the nurse one OFW, and
Mhm.
Jay. All of us are doing vlogs because
Yes.
might as well provide free resources to people because
Yeah.
we didn't have these resources. You've been here longer than me.
Everybody's something to give. It's a two-way street. We can learn from you. You can learn from us, and it works both ways. So it's a never-ending education
Right,
and learning, and it's free.
right. That is free. That's the most
Mhm.
important part. Let's talk about Jay's question. What about earned income tax? My family and I entered as a U.S. immigrant on September 2021. Then my daughter was born on November 2021. Are we eligible to claim the earned income tax?
The right term for the earned income tax is the EIC, earned income tax credits. Okay, so what's happening? Even your daughter was born on December 31, 2021, you can still claim the credit. However, the higher your income goes, the earned income credit goes
Phases-
lower.
it
Yeah,
phases
it's
out,
phased
right?
out. Guys, you remember credits, benefits,
The lower.
they started to phase out. The maximum is, I think, 6,000 for 3 kids.
I'm not getting any credit.
Uh,
Zero.
Unless you
credits.
have dogs, but no, dogs are
Dogs are not considered
yeah,
kids.
no dependents. They're not covered for the earned income credit, but they can be covered for medical expenses because you're paying and you pay for your dogs, the
Right.
veterinarian dogs. But the earned income credit, guys, is one of the advantages, but it's only meant for people that are to maximize. You heard people getting 6,500, those kind of because they're only making less than 40,000 a year or less than 50,000. Remember when your income started to be at 89,000 and up, I'm telling you, the government is telling you, no, you have to contribute now, and we're gonna start to lower your credit. So
Right.
that's a very good question, Christopher. You're from OR. I used to be an OR nurse.
Oh,
Papayo.
Christopher. There you go. And thank you, Jay, for your question. But yes, you can get credits as long as you don't meet the upper limit. Every credit or every tax
Phase out.
advantage, pre-tax deductions or something like that, always have a phase out level where you can't do it after a certain amount. And for me, in my personal case, I've already phased out a lot
Oh
of
my
credits.
God.
Chris Lloyd said this. I've heard some friends writing off their airline tickets, accommodations to expenses to be credited to the charitable causes. How does that work?
This is
that
a
is
very
illegal.
this is a very gray area, guys. Okay, so the first there are due diligence that need to be met. Number one, the charitable institution need to met the 501c3. They should be like a credible nonprofit organization. If you're gonna go to Ghana, is it under World Health Organization? Those are need to be scrutinized more, and that's the reason why people like, oh, just transfer me because I have a family member who owns a church. That's not, and then you're gonna go to the Philippines because you want to attend the blessing of the church, but they're not registered.
Yeah.
It needs to be registered
Here
for
in
you to, yes, here in the US, guys,
They have to
not
be able to verify the
yeah.
designation as charity.
And then this airline ticket accommodation, it's going to be scrutinized because how much? If you are there 30 days in the Philippines, how much is really for charity?
Exactly. What percentage of the time?
So it's gonna be prorated, scaled down, and then remember, guys, if it's you have your standard deduction, if it's not gonna go more than your standard deduction for couples, it's 20,000 plus, then the charity will not gonna be considered
Right. I
as
think
a deduction.
a lot of people like to live on the edge, testing the limits. But
Pushing the
one
button.
day we say here, we don't want the taxman knocking on your door, but God forbid, but they might start knocking on your door and ask you to produce all those reports to prove that you actually had done that.
I actually remember you have to be very careful, especially in Florida. We have a bunch of nurses who came to us because there was a guy who's preparing that he's declaring like 10, 20,000 of expenses. And guess what, guys? Out of 50 nurses, it's the same charity every year, an ABC church in the Philippines. Guys, you have to be careful with that. If your tax guy was telling you they're not asking you for any 501c3 registration of that church, they're just after with your money. Just be careful.
You also make sure, guys, that your tax expert is actually registered in IRS.
Yes, I'm an IRS agent. Check that.
Because there are a lot.
Fly by night.
Especially for immigrants. They're like, I'm going to help you file your taxes. And then towards the end, they're not going to sign your taxes.
It's self-prepared. Be
Right.
careful. You need to see that there's a PTIN there. There's a company address.
Which
Do not sign for a self-prepared one.
Which means your tax preparer, like Chris, he would sign my tax report, or whoever is my account manager, they would sign my report.
Yeah.
Which means if I get audited, we're both gonna show up.
Mm-hmm.
If your tax preparer says, "I'm gonna prepare your taxes," but towards the end, you're the only one who's gonna sign the report, looks like
Very sketchy.
Guys, if you get audited, they don't have an obligation for you. They might not be there anymore to help you out, because if it's an actual tax preparer, they have to sign the report with you. Do not fall to this trap. A lot of our colleagues, especially the new ones, have been taking advantage. They said, I'm
It's
gonna
cheaper.
I'm gonna get your refund, $10,000, and then works the magic, guys. That's very scary. Yeah. And anyway, Chris, my next question. There's so many questions. This is the most engaging show I've done in USA Nurse series. But how do I decrease my tax burden as an immigrant? How do I decrease my tax burden as an immigrant?
All right. Initially, like what we said, when you started as a W4, to minimize your tax burden, maximize first your 401k, because at right now you want to be more conservative 401k, and then also if W2, your W4 max out your W4 contribution, and also for the kids, if you have kids that are in college, there are some education credits when they start less than 4 years that they haven't finished. So those are the things, because for W2 or people that have employees, it's very limited. Like contribute with your SEP IRA, the Simplified Employment Plan, individual retirement account. Your employer has that. But for 1099s and people that have their own business, there's so much tips to minimize, because anything that you do, your clothing, this home office is a deduction. Yeah. If this is typically this is like a 200 square feet. If he has a 1,000, but it's bigger. His house is bigger than that. Okay. If his house is 1,000 square feet. If this house is 1,000 square feet and this is a 200, 200 divided by 1,000, there's already 20%
Tax
That's
deduction for
home
my
office
mortgage.
deduction, correct? Like the utilities, the carpet, all of these things are part of his yearly deduction. So
Yep.
those are just some. We're just scratching the surface. There's so many.
That's why I have my tax. I'm conducting my business in my home, so I can
That's
deduct
why it's home sweet home. If I will get more home office deductions.
Right. So yep. That's why when I bought this house, when I was walking through this neighborhood, I looked at 4 houses. I actually liked the other house, but I said when I saw this house, there's an extra room that's like I can convert
Studio.
to a studio to my online studio, virtual studio, and I said I'm gonna buy this house for that reason alone.
And then for people like have Airbnb, that's a
Exactly.
bed and breakfast. So I would always say that try to think of something what you can do home office.
Right. And then I say to new immigrants, if you guys are new here, the goal is to lower your tax burden first. Because I mean, if you're here for the first or 1 or 2 years, you're not really going to be able to save a lot because
Yeah.
all of your expenses all of your money are going out. You have to buy a house or you have to furnish your apartment. You have to put your kids to schools. A lot of immigrants come over here and they take loans from their home country first to get over here because moving here is expensive. I had $5,000 coming over here, and in the first month, I was already running out of money because I had to buy a car and this and
I
that.
borrowed to my friend.
Yeah, that's the truth. And a lot of them suffer the same.
My classmates sold the Carabao. Sold the Carabao.
Carabao. To finance your American
the province
dream.
in the farm.
Right.
They have what do you call that? To loan the
The
Collateral.
collateral. Yes.
Yeah.
The Carabao is
But-
the collateral.
But hey, whatever works, right?
Exactly. Very important to have money to come over here because it's a little expensive compared to Asia, of course. But what I always tell them is do not go for complex stuff first. Like, okay, can I max
yes.
my Roth IRA? Try to max out your employer match with your 401k first
401k
to
first.
lower down your income.
Mhm.
Lower income, lower taxes, more money for your pocket. And why do you want that money for a bit? Is because you want that to finance your furnishings, your new car, your car for your spouse, or put your kids to school. And then after 6 months to 1 year, or you've already been able to like pay off all the loans, then you start contributing to your 401k. Pay off loans first.
And
That's my thing.
Yeah, and additional to that, one thing, this is more like advanced, is like index universal life. It's a life insurance, the
Right.
term, because on the IRS code, anything that make interest money from your index universal life, these are non-taxable loans. So basically, the IUL is something that you can explore, guys. And the good thing about that, it's of course it's not something that you want the next year. This is more like a long term, like 10 15 years of contribution before you even benefit with this product. There's so many, but it's not one size fits all. You have to check first your expenses, like what Paul said. You need to settle first in an area where you really want to, or finish the contract first, then just check with the other cities, because there are some nurses, they were designated first in a city that's very far, rural.
Yeah.
And if you don't see yourself there, do not buy a house right there and then, because if you move out, it's gonna be double the expenses because you're paying that mortgage and then you're paying another.
And I've heard a lot of nurses come over here 3 to 6 months. They were offered by a realtor, we can get you like a loan because you're a nurse. Yes, of course they could, because nurses have very stable jobs here. But don't make that mistake. On my first year here, I was roommate with Lloyd and some of my friends.
With Kat.
With Kat. She's not here right now, but she's coming back here because of her oath taking for American citizenship. Anyway, I didn't buy a house right off the bat because I know I wanted to explore the U.S. first. So after I finished my contract, I did travel nursing and then decided, okay, Houston is the city for me. But this is only my residence. It doesn't mean I'm tied up here. I can still travel. The problem is when you buy a house, you get tied up with that city, especially if you have kids, family. There's no way for you to move anymore. It will be hard because who's going to take care of your house? Right? Or going to rent that or going to sell that? Selling
it takes time too.
You can't sell within the first 2 years. It has costs. You're gonna pay the agents, and that's rules. So it's gonna be difficult for you to like buy a house right off the bat and then decide this is not the country for me, or God forbid the employer fires you for something.
Yeah,
and now
just
you don't have a job and you're in the city where you shouldn't be or where you don't want to be.
yeah, just it takes a lot of financial discipline. I know it's emotional when you buy a house. Yeah, because sometimes you when I first got here, just to share my backstory, when I first got here, I haven't seen really what US looks like. I just saw
Exactly.
the Home Alone.
Yes, in the
Macaulay
movie.
I was thinking that when you say
Kevin.
US, it's gonna be like New York kind of New York with buildings and then white Christmas. And then when I got where I was like, wow, this is more like a farmland.
Country.
Country. I cannot even post it on my Facebook because they would thought that I'm just in the Nueva Ecija, Tuguegarao province. So I was like, oh my god, it's just take a deep breath and then go back to your drawing board.
Yes.
Need to know what
Set a
is
goal.
need and what is want. Do not tie it up with the long term
Yeah.
financial liability.
Correct. And we want more money to our pockets than costing us so much. For every mistake that we do, it can cost us money. And me and Chris know that because we're both entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Which means we have to be smart about money in the sense that we're running our businesses, but we also have personal lives to live. And I had a question earlier. Cannot backtrack anymore. There's so many comments, but are 109 nights more likely to be audited? 109 nights are
Oh,
contractors.
okay. Before, it's just so funny. Somebody commented, "I will sell my kidney." I used to be part of kidney transplant team in St. Luke's Medical Center.
Oh my goodness.
Going back to the 1099. Yes, 1099. If the IRS 1099 self-employed, because any 1099s you're using is Schedule C, or if you have a rental you're using is Schedule E. Yeah, that's highly audited.
Mhm.
So I would really be careful with they're not auditing just the income; they're auditing mostly 90% the expenses.
Yeah.
So if you have a wrong computation with your mileage, oh my god, guys, you have to track your mileage because a lot of nurses they use their same car for business and personal. Just be careful. Yeah, it's highly audited. 3 years, and they can go back if there's a pattern of estimation. When we say estimation, you always put, for example, uniform. You always put 1,500 every year. That's gonna trigger an audit, guys.
Okay, so consult tax expert. We're very fortunate to have people like you for LaBelle. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, we're very fortunate that you're here too, Labelle.
And Ashley, we're gonna go through the questions very quickly. There's a lot of questions, but how about writing off our business? What is the requirement for having a legit or legitimate business?
Number one, you have a business registration. When we say business registration, you're registered to the IRS. You have an employer's identification number.
Yep.
And I also suggest limited liability company. It's not because of it has more tax flexibility eventually because a limited liability company is like an airplane.
Yeah.
So you start with cabin. Ano yung
Economy.
Economy first,
Coach.
which is you have a higher tax rate, but you can always elect like an S corp where you're going. When you have so many net income, you can start to be okay. I want to become like what's the next after economy, the comfort one, which is more tax flexibility because you can pay yourself, like issue yourself a W-2. You can open your own 401k as a S corporation, but then again, you can also be a C corp, which is more leg seat in an airplane. It gives you more tax savings because
There you go.
yeah. So those are kind of advanced, but that's what we said. To be a legitimate business, you need to have first. It's not required, but I really want you guys to be an LLC.
Yeah.
It protects you from so many
Exactly.
liability, and then you need to have your error and omission insurance, whatever insurance that are required for your business. And secondly, you need to be registered to have an employer's identification number to the IRS.
So you want to separate your business from your personal, which means you have your own social security number, but you also have a separate identification number for your business. That way the business transacts with the business side and you transact with your own personal side. That way we can separate it.
And also, I remember, yeah, because that in that case you can open your own business bank account and you can start having your business credit card. That's easy.
Cards, credit points. I know a lot of people don't like credits, but credits work if you know how to leverage credits to your advantage. Anyway, yep. And is it advisable to have apartment first? We have answered this.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
that we answered, but on the other one, writing of the business, he said always record document, and that's writing of the expenses based on your credit card, and then keep your receipts. Try to download a receipt tracker, and then a mile IQ app. it saves
Right.
your
And
expenses.
what about the husband? If he got a job, how much will he pay? And is it based on the income annually or per month?
It's based on when you guys file together.
Yep.
So I would really suggest W4. That's the baseline. Even you're married, do not put married. Put single, no dependents.
Yep. Yep. And then of course, the taxes here are paid per paycheck, and we get paycheck every 2 weeks usually per nurses, right? So
Yeah, there was a. I remember my friends. Oh my god, they deferred the taxes on their space stub. Because they're gonna go to the Philippines.
Oh,
They
no.
yeah they I think they deferred 10,000 of taxes and they forgot to put it on the next year.
Oh no.
It's a mess. Do not touch your federal withholding contribution.
Yep, don't do that. And if I do sidelines, will I be taxed for that too?
Okay, we're gonna go back to the basic. Any type of sideline, anything that you're making more than $400, 400
Must declare.
must be declared. Whether it's cash, check, yeah, you will be taxed.
All
You have to
right.
declare that, please.
We've learned a lot today. I've learned a lot today. Thank you, Chris, for clearing some confusion. We're probably gonna hire. We're gonna invite Chris again in the future, and I trust Chris. He does my taxes. Our final thought for today is any word of advice or immigrant nurses regarding taxes and finances.
Yeah, we've been covering this a while ago. The first thing is do not put yourself in a long term liability financially. In the meantime, because when you start for the next two, when you get here, you're still on the contract with the hospital, but you want to finish the contract, but you also don't want to be tied up in the long term liability with the mortgages because there's not so much tax savings on that. Then after 2 or 3 years of your life, you started to see yourself in California or in Houston. Then if you really want to buy the house, make sure that this house will also give you tax savings. It's not just for you to live in, but you also need to think about something that you can use your home as a home office. There are the telepsychologists or psychotherapists you can use. Just always think, how would I make this a money making machine?
Right.
That when you buy the house, I'm not really against about buying a house. It's really good,
Right.
but it's way better if you can put Airbnb or seasonal vacation or rentals or even a studio for your photo shoot, blogging, all those things, guys.
Business. Tax write-off.
Always spearhead your any long-term liability to become more tax deductions, and that will you be considered as an asset, that property, because it's something that minimize the taxes and then putting and generating more revenue. In this time and age, there's so many virtual services you can
Right.
offer, especially healthcare.
Right at your
practitioners.
home.
Yes, right at your own home.
Tax deduction.
Yeah. Another thing, just do not get any rent or do not get any lease agreement for the next 3 to 5 years if you want to put up your own business. Just
Right.
think about it.
And what we always say here in the States is work smart, not work harder.
Yes, work smart. Do not work hard. Try to really advance your knowledge and try to transition more on you being a freelancer, being your own boss, having your own company.
That's true.
It-
Think
it-
like an entrepreneur.
yeah, it's not easy, but when you get there, it's going to be your lifestyle.
Right. And there's so many questions. We're probably going to do another show, but thank you, Chris. Why don't you plug your business so they can follow you on Facebook, watch your shows too, and ask more questions and probably hire you as their tax expert. Legit, guys. So he's been doing my taxes and lots of. We're also really good friends. Plus, he's a nurse too. So
Yeah, I'm a
that
nurse.
makes him bridge to industries. And as a nurse, he feels me. He has knowledge, so I trust him more.
Yeah, we will retire as a nurse and for the tax, we will retire healthy and wealthy. How about that? Well, to plug in, I keep giggling. It's really nice. It's cool. It's very different when you're engaging with people. First thing is you follow us, Chris Wycoco. We have a page. We also have a YouTube channel. We have some videos for you. And go to our website. Our website is Wyco Tax. Wyco, by the way, is my last name. Wycoco, but just 3 syllables. WycoTax.com, and then there's a free consultation. Just book your free 30-minute consultation, and we're willing to really answer your questions. I really have a big heart for immigrants because I know how hard it is being here without, like what you said in the beginning, without any resources to help you. That's why Paul, this is I really would like to congratulate you.
Thank you.
You're very like you're not in a 35 mile per hour. You're like 90, 100 miles. This guy, this is like he knows technology. I love technology, but I'm not that kind of.
I'm very
people.
tech savvy. I can help you with that. Let me know.
I know. I'm like, oh my god,
I'm very
this
tech
guy
savvy,
is
yes.
so far advanced in his game.
I set up my studio for today so I can bring Chris in because usually it's just me and another person would be in a virtual studio from another part of the world or US. But today I would like, Chris said, oh, I want to do it with you in your house. So I was like, okay, let me set up my studio. I had to move things around, but I enjoyed it. Thank you, Chris. Everybody, can you guys please say thank you, Chris, for joining us today? Please follow him on Facebook. His Facebook page is Wycotax.
Yeah.
WYCOTAX, and provides 30-minute free consultation, Chris.
Yeah, and just type Chris Wycoco consultation.
And he has a lot of shows too that he did in the past and will be doing in the future. Please like Chris' page. Let's support him. And he does a lot of social advocacies too. I love people that are not only there to try to earn money from everybody, but are also not scared and brave enough to share their story, just like Chris, very inspirational. And also to share their expertise. And most of the time, it's even for free. Like if you ask Chris one thing, he's gonna talk to you about taxes. It's just his passion, and he doesn't charge for those things that that like this. He won't charge me, right?
No.
No, I'm just kidding. But the point is, I like people that like to help others as well on top of their businesses because that makes me feel like there are people that really care. It's their passion. They're not only there to make money, but they also care for their clients. They give them valuable services and quality service, of course. Thank you so much, Chris.
Exactly. Like when you follow, do not chase the money first. Chase your dreams. Money will always follow when you love what you do and you have the heart and passion.
Thank you, Chris. And all right, I guess we're ready to announce the winner. But I have a major announcement for everybody today. All right, because of my 6 years in the United States, and the next gen NCLEX is coming up in 3 weeks. The next Chris, when we took our NCLEX, it's not as hard as this. This is hard.
Really?
I took my NCLEX 2008, but now it's like case studies and you have to highlight all the abnormal findings or put them on the table. I'm having a hard time teaching it because the technology has changed too. Like I can teach, but you have to show them the technology.
The last time I just visited NLEX in Manila.
Oh, that's NLEX.
So this is guys, NLEX is it's far different from the last time we moved.
Right.
I took my exam in Saipan. Where did you take?
Oh, I took mine in the Philippines.
You already have Makati there.
Yeah. 2008. Yep.
Oh.
And I have a special announcement for this is very important. For if you are retaking your NCLEX, if you failed your NCLEX in the past, and I'm doing this because I've also checked the data, 57% of NCLEX takers last year in 2022, Chris, for international educated nurses failed the exam, right? So we're doing this today, only for 2 weeks. We're going to be giving 50% discount on my full course for retakers. Let's zoom that picture in. My moderator, Lovely. Thank you so much for moderating this class. The promo runs from March 11 to 25 for first 50 students to enroll only. This is only exclusive for retakers, 50% off. I want to be able to help you pass the NCLEX this time. I had one student who passed the NCLEX on the 7th time, and on the 7th time finally decided to join the DrNursePaul Aspire RN course. If you are this person and you want to pass these NCLEX, you want to be given another chance to the American dream, let me help you fulfill that American dream. 50% off. For NCLEX retakers, only 50 students are going to be taken this month. I don't want to overload my staff with so many because last time I did a 50% off. We got flooded with so many students, and I love that. But this is only for retakers, March 11 to 25. If you are a first taker and you're interested with my course, give my staff members a message at the DrNursePaul Facebook page and Aspire RN Facebook page, and we're going to run through all the courses that we have, and we might be able to give you a discount. We're going to give you a discount. Just message us in our Facebook page. And before we move on to the next part, somebody asked again, what is your Facebook page, Chris?
Chris Wycoco. Chris Wycoco.
Chris Wycoco.
Andale.
There you go. And 50% off again for NCLEX retakers. If you have a friend who wants to retake the NCLEX or discouraged to take the NCLEX because they failed the first time, the second time, let's give them a chance. Tag them on this show, tag them on my Facebook page, and we are going to give them 50% off to get them started with the American dream. Why I'm doing this is because I want to be able to help them. I want to tell them that this is not the end of the world. They have another chance to success, and we need a lot of nurses here. Don't get discouraged with the first time, the second time you failed. You only fail when you stop trying.
Right. Words of wisdom. Eventually, this is going to be a life coach right here.
There you go. All right, and we're gonna announce the winner now. Do we have our winner? And the winner for today's show.
Drum roll.
Rita, man.
Lord the man.
Hi, Rita. Are you here? You won today's show. Thank you for joining Dr. Nurse Paul show. And don't worry if you guys didn't win today. Next week, we're going to have another show. In the Dr. Nurse Paul show, the secrets of next generation NCLEX, next gen NCLEX tips and tricks part 2. That's going to be next week, March 18, 2023. 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. For the Filipinos, this is going to be 9 p.m. because we're going to switch tomorrow to daylight saving time. So it's not going to be 10 p.m. with you guys. Today we started 10 p.m. It's going to be 9 p.m. 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, 9 p.m. Philippines. And wherever you are in the world, it's going to be the same time with you guys. Or actually 1 hour earlier because we're doing daylight saving time. Again, so Central Daylight Saving Time, again, 8 a.m. March 18. There will be, again, one winner of a full course of the Dr. Nurse Paul method under AspireRN.com. By the way, I didn't tell you, Chris, but you're the one who registered my business.
Oh, I did.
4 years ago.
I checked my database. It's like more than 2,000 clients for the past 11 years.
Yes, that's a lot. But thank you. He established my business. Thank you for that. And we're going to do a lot of stuff again for my business.
I really have a great time.
Thank you. This was so fun. We'll invite Chris again in the future. Thank you guys for joining us today. And I think Chris has another show later.
Oh yeah, I have I have a presentation for contractors at N99. This is gonna be in Richmond. Richmond, there's like 100 plus attendees.
Wow.
It's mixed. I love
Good luck. Thank you. We went overtime. I have a class 2 at 10 a.m. But thank you guys. We appreciate you and see you guys next week. Follow Chris, Facebook.
Bye, guys.
You have just watched the Dr. Nurse Paul Show. Watch us live every Saturday, 8 a.m. Central U.S. Time. For more info about our future events, follow us on our social media channels. You can find us at Dr. Nurse Paul on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. See you next week.